In 2015, the soda fire burned nearly 280,000 acres of public and private lands in both Oregon and Idaho. Nearly 200,000 acres of sagebrush habitat was burned, 41 grazing allotments, 3 wild horse management areas, and recreation sites. After the fire was out, the area was left vulnerable to erosion and invasive species. Without intervention, the area would likely suffer further damage and be dangerously vulnerable to weeds and invasive annual grasses, compromising habitat, forage, recreation, resources, and setting the stage for the next fire. One of the greatest risks of this scenario is that invasive species like cheatgrass and Medusa head rye will invade a burned area very quickly, outcompeting native vegetation and eventually creating a thick, carpet-like mat in which nothing else can survive. These species in turn can become fuel for another fire, accelerating the annual grass fire cycle that has been identified as the primary threat to greater sage-grouse in the Great Basin. One tool used in combating this problem is the construction of fuel breaks. These fuel breaks are designed to break up the fuel concentration to slow, or if possible, stop a fire in its tracks. Fuel specialists with the Bureau of Land Management and cooperating agencies thin out vegetation on both sides of existing roads to bolster the existing barrier that the roads create. These breaks mean that fire suppression crews can better control the growth of wildfires across the arid landscape of the Great Basin. Additionally, these breaks can create an anchor point from which the fire suppression crews can safely fight a wildfire. Many tools are used to achieve this goal: chemical treatments like herbicides, mechanical treatments like mowing, and in some cases, targeted livestock grazing. By partnering with local ranchers and carefully monitoring activity, livestock can be strategically placed to thin out vegetation in specific areas, creating a cost-efficient and, above all, effective fuel break.
So this is the targeted grazing we did in 2016, spring of 2016, in regards to the soda fuel break that we're trying to establish across the front here. And our rationale behind choosing this spot, why here and why now, this is an area that has, we felt had a lot of risk involved. Upstream here, or up country here, you have the soda fire from 2015, and we've got millions of dollars worth of emergency stabilization investments up here that we're trying to protect. Now all down here at the base of the slope, we also have all this wildland urban interface that goes out here, and then it also continues all the way around this way, and then back over here is Hemingway Butte. There's some risk there, so you've got this kind of a trifecta of risk for this little area here. Here you can see the road that goes underneath the power line. Our goal here was to try to get 200 feet each side of this road fuel break to 2 inches or less stubble height. And we started out, it was 5.5 inches, and by the end of the 3-week grazing, targeted grazing period that we did here, you're looking at just over 2 inches. So we feel that we got the stubble height to as close as we could have got. The other thing in regards to grazing for a fuel break is that we've never said that we want to graze to where that fire won't burn. I mean, that would be pretty excessive. What our idea here is to graze to the point that we break up the fuel continuity of the fine fuels on the landscape to where a fire struggles to move through the fuel break versus just freely flows through the fuel break. I anticipate as we do this, I think it's going to be an even more effective fuel break over time if we can get this going and maintain it on a yearly basis.